I did some ads, but I didn't really know how to run them. So, it was kind of wasted money, got the odd lead. I ended up on disability for 14 years. Horrible depression and anxiety. I couldn't work. And my wife finally said, I think you're doing a bit better. It's time to get off the couch. Let's find something for you to start. So I thought poop scooping is pretty good. And I'll do it for a couple mornings a week, and that'll be it. It's funny, a newspaper reached out to me and said, never heard of a business like yours. Can we do a story on it? Said, sure. They did a photo. It came out January 8th, I think. And the next day I had 12 or 13 new clients.
Welcome back to the Built Local podcast. Today we have a special guest calling in from Canada. We've got Rick with the Poop Valet. Rick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for having me on, Clay.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here. Super excited to learn more about your story. And talking about your story, I always love just to open the floor to let you introduce yourself however you'd like to. So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, great. I'm 58, so I'm coming into the game a little bit late. I've been in business 3 years. Came from a social work background. I was a part-time hockey reporter for 20 years. And then I ended up on disability for 14 years. Horrible depression and anxiety. And I couldn't work. And my wife finally said, I think you're doing a bit better. It's time to get off the couch. Let's find something for you to start. So I thought poop scooping is pretty good. And I'll do it for a couple mornings a week, and that'll be it.
Wow. So how poop scooping? How did that become the thing that you're like, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, weird story, but we were sitting around it. My brother-in-law has a farm, or had a farm, just sold it. But we were sitting around. There's probably 15 of us sitting around a big campfire. The dogs were running around doing what they do.
Pooping.
And my brother-in-law turned to me and said, Rick, I just wish there was a company out there that he'd come and pick that up for me. And I got thinking about it. I did some research, and I saw so many scoopers in the States, but not an awful lot in Canada. So I thought, there's a niche that I can build on.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny to hear how all the stories kind of transpire. Some people it's like they're scrolling YouTube and they see a video. Other people it's like yours where it's like you saw a need out and then you research like, oh wow, like this is actually something that people do. But like, did you have your doubts going into it that like this was gonna be a thing that people would pay for and work, or were you pretty confident from the very beginning?
I really didn't know what just based on what I saw in scoopers established in the States and some of the communities that I joined, I saw that the potential was real.
Yeah.
So I thought I can do this 2 or 3 mornings a week, and started December 22nd, 2022, and the first week had one client, and then it's funny, a newspaper reached out to me and said, never heard of a business like yours. Can we do a story on it? Said, sure. They did a photo. It came out January 8th, I think. And the next day I had 12 or 13 new clients.
Wow. That's incredible. And I think it's something that people don't lean into enough in the poop scooping business. It's like you have a very like conversation worthy business. Like it's just something, it's memorable. It's something that people aren't used to. And so when you do go to events or get involved in your local area, like they're going to remember you as the poop scooping guy, and it's not like you're just another landscaper of the hundreds and thousands out there. Like this is unique. So that's really cool that you're able to get some clients that way early. How'd you get your very first client?
Facebook group, posted in our very local Facebook group, because I was just going to do our small community that we're part of. And that was it, just part-time, going back on my mental health issues that I had, the depression, anxiety. I thought this is only going to be a part-time venture. That's all I can do. And so I've grown it very slowly and intentionally.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. I think that business is a funny thing because it can be therapeutic, and it also can be the opposite and it can make things worse. So how have you managed, with your journey of mental health and anxiety, how have you managed, growing a business while also keeping those, obviously the priority of your health in check?
Well, that was part of why I wanted to do it part time, is just thinking, if I have a good day or a bad day, then I'll work accordingly.
Yeah.
And because it started to blow up pretty quickly, faster than I ever wanted, it wasn't too long before I hired a part time scooper to do most of the scooping. And now I've got anywhere from 1 to 1.5 scoopers, depending on, where things are at.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, you can tell by your reviews and everything, like you've been able to grow pretty steadily. And so, after they, posted you in the newspaper and you got that original traction, what was growth like after that? I mean, were there, some ads or specific things that you were doing pretty consistently to continue to grow, or what was your strategy to grow?
I did some ads, but I didn't really know how to run them. So, it
Yeah.
was kind of wasted money, got the odd lead. But, Facebook groups really did it for me a while.
Mm,
And then I worked very hard on branding. So
mm,
every community event, every chamber of commerce around here, a BNI chapter, I did everything I could just to get our name out there. Our local humane society, I partnered with them and always had a tent branded and everything in their events. And that's what's grown it for us, intentionally trying to work on our branding, our trucks wrapped. And I think that's what steadily grew for us.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
And then it
The
led
brand.
into spring. It led into spring. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah, and obviously Spring Rush is big, and I think that like the cool thing about branding though is that it takes a little while to get the ball rolling, but gets to a point where that word of mouth ball, people recognizing you, that kind of starts to roll, and it gets very consistent and reliable. And it might not be like turning on an ad campaign where you're spending $80 a day or something to
yeah.
keep leads coming in, where it happens quickly. But over time, it can be like your strategic advantage in the marketplace that people recognize you. And so, was that like a specific decision that you made early on that you're, hey, I'm going to be big on branding, or did it just kind of happen naturally?
I realized very quickly that if I'd never heard of the industry, then a lot of the people local to me had never heard of it, which turned out to be true.
Mm,
Because I leaned into that.
mm,
I thought branding is one of the first things I needed to do. Just
yeah.
and Facebook posts just to you know be social and show that we're out there and give comments and suggestions, and all of those things added up.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, and you've been able to grow pretty steadily over the last couple of years. And so, how do you keep your clients happy even as you grow and making sure the service that you're delivering is 5 star?
I think first and foremost, it's great communication. I think most scoopers are doing it now. On the way text, and
Mm,
we send a message 7 a.m. in the morning just to remind them, and then they can open their gates or unlock or whatnot if they forgot. We send a message right afterwards with a locked gate photo, and something that I think we pioneered in the scooping community is a poop report.
oh, wow.
So attached to every visit is a report that tells them whether we saw anything in the dog stool, stuff like that. And that sort of stuff really matters.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a thing that people don't really think about, that y'all can help and provide more value for. Um, and then when it comes to like your, hiring your first employee and stuff like that, and maybe getting out of all the scooping, how are you able to find these employees and train them properly to keep your standards?
They were all Indeed,
Okay.
through Indeed, and we had some hits and misses. We've probably had probably 10 employees, and we have one now that's a rock star. If you look at our reviews, he's mentioned Dom is mentioned a lot in those reviews.
Yeah.
So he's got a great satisfaction. So we're paying him a bit more than, a couple bucks more than we normally would pay somebody.
Yeah.
And he gets regular bonuses from us, and all tips that come in, every cent of that goes every other month we pay it out. And, it's
Mm,
usually $400 or $500
yeah.
is what he gets for 2 months. So, he's well liked. So really focus on anybody listening, focus on your employees if you need one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, that's great advice. And I think that you talked about it already about how like not a lot of people in the area knew that this was a service existed. And so with that comes a lot of homeowners that you could work with that lack a lot of information and might have a lot of common misconceptions about pet waste removal. And so, what are some of the most common misconceptions you see your clients or potential clients asking you about that you might be able to answer on this call?
Um, a lot of people, we talk about the parasites and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, the waterways,
Mm-hmm.
any bacteria, we talk about that sort of thing. We talk about our communication, and that it's the same day every week, or biweekly, whatever it be. And we let them know that we haul the waste away. We're one of the ones that still haul the waste away, and that's really valued by our clients. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just educating them of how we can solve their problems. There's not selling dog poop removal. It was how we can help them and how we can solve issues.
Real quick, if you're a local business owner and you want to start getting customers from Google, you know how important Google reviews are. Every week, I talk to business owners just like you across hundreds of industries who know reviews matter, but never seem to have the time or the system in place to actually get them. That's exactly why I've spent the last 2 years building Review Harvest. We built it with a non-tech savvy business owner in mind, so anybody can set it up in minutes and start getting reviews today. It automates the process of getting real reviews from your customers, responding to those reviews, and repurposing them across your website and across your social media platforms. It's a set it and forget it software. You can get it all set up in about 10 minutes and you never have to worry about reviews again. We can integrate into the tools you're already using so you don't have to change a thing. You don't have to train your team on how to request reviews. You don't have to request them manually. You get customers, we get your reviews. It's simple as that. And the first play in our playbook is what we call a review reactivation. You probably have hundreds or thousands of previous customers who loved your service but never left your review. So a lot of times our users can double or even triple their reviews just in the first couple months of working with us when we do that review reactivation. Yeah, for sure. No, that's super valuable. And as you've continued to grow, what do you see, Poop Valet looking like in the next couple of years? What are your goals? Where do you want to be at in terms of number of clients or anything like that?
My wife is my partner. She does the book work and helps scoop in the spring, but she's within 2 years she's retired
Yeah.
from her full time job. So I'd like to be manually looking after this from afar,
Mm,
laptop and just checking in once in a while. We've got a
yeah.
lot of automations in process, just like the reviews.
Hmm.
And those automations make it so that you can work more on the business and less in it.
Yeah.
And, I know many scoopers that go on 3 weeks vacation, and everything just runs well because they've systems in place, and we're
Yep.
working hard on that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. That's we're trying to do the same thing with Review Harvest. I'm like, I don't necessarily want to like go sit on a beach and drink a mai tai all day for the rest of my life, but I want to have the option.
Yeah.
I want to have the option where we can be a little bit more out of the day to day and we can focus on more important, bigger picture things in the business.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I've seen photos of you and Carly walking around on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're working on it. Well, we live at the beach, so it's pretty easy to
Oh,
get. It's pretty easy to get there,
yeah,
but it's just getting there on a weekday. I guess that's the hard part.
yeah, nice.
But yeah, that's awesome. What have been some of the best like systems that you've put in place so far that have been able to alleviate some of your time? And then what do you think are kind of some of the big systems that you need to put in place to really kind of get the ball rolling on you being able to check in on a laptop every once in a while?
I'd like to automate ads so that
Mm,
you know, Claude is tracking the ads and giving suggestions. And I know people that have done it and done it well.
mm,
So it doesn't become the time suck that it necessarily is. But the thing that I've worked on recently is I've designed a new website. It's not no longer WordPress. It's a Next.js
yep.
React website,
Yeah.
and really worked hard on all of the connections, whether it's SEO, but really focused on answer first,
Mm,
build out our facts, and
mm,
that's making a big difference. Our traffic is up where everybody says their traffic is down.
mm.
We're killing it the last month. It's fantastic. And when I see that, I want to automate more.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like addicting, you get that first hit and it's like, oh, let me keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think one thing that's huge, I looked at your site before this. I think one thing that's huge that not a lot of people do or they're scared to do, it's more common in pet waste removal than other industries, but they're so afraid to put their prices on the site. But that is like the number one thing that people are asking. Like these AI
Yes.
services, like Google AI, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever. They're asking how much does it cost to get my yard scooped once a week, right? And if
Yeah.
your site doesn't have any data on pricing, how are they going to recommend you and answer that? And so, was that a strategic decision you made recently, or have you had prices on your site for forever?
I've had prices on in different iterations of the website over the past 3.5 years, but I haven't had anything on there for a year probably. And
Mm-hmm.
then I read that just what you said, that all of the answer engines and LLMs are all search. The searches for prices always show up first if you've got transparency. So I added that and the pricing schema,
Mm-hmm.
behind the website, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's making a big difference in the
Yeah.
traffic we're getting.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we're a couple years away, maybe more, maybe less away from like truly agentic search in the sense of like making your website digestible for an AI agent to go report to whoever it tasked them to do the thing. But like you said, the schema, making it structured so that the AI can read it and understand it clearly, is something that over time I think that value is just going to continue to grow as as we get more services out there like Perplexity and these search queries get more specific, right? Used
Yeah.
to when it comes to ranking, people would go to Google, and this is still the vast majority of searches. So don't freak out if anybody's listening to this, like, oh, I'm behind. But used to, you type in the service and you type in your area, and then Google, with those two things, service and area, Google's got to figure out who to put at the top, right? But now we're getting to a point where it's not like that. It's like, hey, these searches are very specific, and so you might not even be the best ranking business or the biggest business, but if you've got the answer to this question, then AI will rank you. So instead of poop scooping, in Kilchener or outside of Toronto, wherever you're located, it's like, who can come scoop my yard once a week for $100 a month and send me a locked gate photo every time, right? Like, who can? That's the answer to the question they're asking. And so if your site has that answer, you're way more likely to show up, even if you don't have the most amount of reviews or the best website ever or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love the setup that we're working on. Matter of fact, I put in a prompt yesterday. Don't remember it exactly, but basically, I want to make my website the best home service website in Canada
Mm.
based on LLM responses or agentic responses.
Mm.
And Claude worked on it for probably 18 hours and made all kinds of changes. And I came out in the morning and looked at it and thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? I
Yep.
looked at the website and you barely noticed all the changes it made because it was
Yep.
all behind the scenes. Just
Yep.
so happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's so awesome to see you adopting AI and leaning in. There's so many people that are so afraid of it. They think that it's too hard to use or they don't know what to do. And so, what was your first thing? This would be really helpful for business owners listening. What was your first kind of baby step into AI and starting to use it where you're like, oh, this is worth kind of diving in and I can learn how to do this?
Um, I think it was first when I tried to connect with Go High Level, which was
Okay.
not easy. I mean, it's a great connection if you can make it, but
Yeah.
I struggled with it. And a guy that's become a good friend in the industry, Mark Gromer,
Yeah.
he's helped me out a lot. And now we kind of partner on things and, have a mastermind call every week just to talk about AI stuff and how we can improve each other's businesses. And, you know, it's just evolved from the Go High Level. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Zapier.
and what, like, just to set it straight for the audience, like, did you have a super technical background? Like you talked about your previous before, like it's not like you were a developer before any of this.
No, I've built probably half a dozen websites for myself, just
Yeah.
playing around more than anything. And so, I kind of understood the WordPress and the server stuff, but this stuff is all new. The agentic coding is just
Yeah.
brand new.
Yeah. And the great part about it is that if you get stuck, you can just take a screenshot of your screen and send it to Claude and say, what's going wrong? What do I need to
Yeah,
do? Like it's funny. People are like, how do I learn how to do this? I'm like, no, you literally just sit down and you just ask it what to do, and like
yeah.
it'll walk you through it.
Or you know, I don't like this design. Please redo it. You know, so that X customer would see it, look at it, you know, in a good way. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's stuff like that that's really made the difference. Just arguing with the results
yeah,
and saying, make it better.
yeah,
And it works. It
yeah,
works.
yeah. No, that's incredible. And so you want to in the next couple of years, you want to automate ads, get out of the day to day a little bit more, and be able to look at it more from afar. What is your business like right now? Like, what takes up most of your time? What are you doing on a day to day that you might be struggling to kind of get out of right now?
Yeah, I still do a lot of networking. This
Mhm.
morning, I just came from a BNI meeting, our local
Yeah.
chapter. Um, I try and do more and more public speaking, like at BNI. I'm an ambassador for our local region,
Mhm.
education coordinator for our chapter, you know, working on stuff like that, going to Chamber of Commerce events. I try not to miss one. There's a lot of people that say, oh, don't sign up for the chamber. It doesn't work for you. And I ask them, well, how many events do you go to? Well, nothing really. I'm using their directory. You're not going to get your money out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
more
I
than
work on that sort of thing right now and let my scooper do the outside duties. And
yeah.
um, I'd like to grow a bit. I'm sitting just over 100 recurring.
Yeah.
You know, our revenue is well over 100K, but
Awesome.
that's in Canadian dollars, which is a little different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing very well. Our churn this summer has been good. It hasn't been nearly as bad as previous years.
That's awesome.
So I'm just trying to grow slowly and intentionally again. Just I don't want to make mistakes that are too hard to screw up to fix the screw ups.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's wise. And I think that talking about your time being at those events and stuff, I think that with AI, in person stuff is just going to get more and more valuable. Like you think about the value of a face to face connection in a world where everything's fake and AI. Like we get on social media and it's all AI videos, and you get online, it's all AI content and everything. And so, like living in a world where things go more and more fake and not human made, that in person stuff is going to become, I think, even more valuable. Where like an in-person connection's always meant a lot. It's always meant more than a Zoom call or a phone call. But now I think it's going to mean be multiples more than it used to be. And so that sounds like that's like a really good priority. How would you recommend somebody get the most out of their chamber of commerce? Obviously, like don't just use it for the directory, but like what's your strategy when you're actually at the events? Like what are you doing? Is it business cards, getting other people's business cards, asking for referrals? Are you just trying to develop relationships? How do you run those events?
Well, I go to as many events as I can, as I said, and just getting recognized.
Mm,
I always wear branded stuff, and you know, which is welcomed. I keep my business cards in my back pocket.
mm,
I never reach into my pocket unless it's asked for.
yeah.
I believe in listening first,
Yep.
and you know, asking them questions rather than talking about yourself. And I've had far more success with that strategy.
Yeah, for sure. And even then, like you get out a business card, like you don't have any way to get in touch with them. Like they're not going to go. It's most likely going to sit on their desk until they throw it away in the trash can.
If it
And
makes it
so,
that far.
if
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so it's like, or sit in their center console of their car or something. So it's better to, I tell at networking events, I've had so much more success. Like you said, listening, learning about them, and then just being like, hey, can I get your number? And like
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 they say yes to that, and then now I also have a lead that I can follow up with, and I actually can reach out to them and not
Yeah.
not require them to do the work of reaching out to me.
Clay, our branding is orange and navy blue, which a
Mhm.
lot of scoopers are. But here's one thing that I do, and everybody remembers me for it, is I get these Vistaprint pens with our contact info on them. You know, they're the cheapest pen, one of the cheapest pens they have, but you know, it's got the little stylus thing on the end, and that's what I give out instead of a business card. Hey, you know, have a pen, but I don't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
And I'll see them 3 months later, and they'll say, "Oh, I still got your pen in my pocket." That's branding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
give out 1,000 pens every 6 months, probably.
Jeez Louise, that's awesome. That's awesome, and that's
That's
so good because
cheaper than ads.
Yeah, you get pins, like at least for me, like I get pins like kind of in a rotation. Like you can see, like I don't know what I have, what pins I have in here right now, but like I don't know, I don't, I could get a pin that I like and I use it for a year or 2 years, and I'm gonna read the
Yeah,
pin. I'm gonna see what's on it.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
works. It really does work.
that's awesome. That's a great tip. Well, what has your experience been like with Review Harvest so far? I know you've been with us for a little while now.
Yeah, I was trying to think back how long I've been with you, and year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. I think a year and
And
a half.
we started. I'm going to guess just under 100.
Yeah, that seems about right. I don't I
And
have we moved you over to our new system and
yeah,
so I lost the old data, but yes.
okay. Yeah, I think 86 stands in my mind for some reason, but
Yeah.
we did do nice job for a little while, but nowhere near the results. Yeah, exactly. Nowhere near the results. Matter of fact, a couple of people said, "Oh, what's on for you today?" And I said, "Oh, I've got this podcast interview with Clay from Review Harvest." "Oh, what's that?" And I tell them about it. And they're like, "Wow, that's really good results." I've got just under 240.
Yeah.
Almost all. It's a 5-star rating. I think we have two that are 4s,
Yeah.
and one that's a one that wasn't a client. I suspect it was a competitor.
Yeah.
But two that are 4s, and I asked them both, just out of curiosity, what could I have done for a 5? "Oh, you did perfect." Okay, so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm
And
okay.
you run into that, some people are just really stingy with that fifth
Yeah,
star, and then other people genuinely accidentally click the 4 star. And so sometimes
yeah,
you have to ask, like, oh, did you mean to leave a 4 star? Because you
yeah.
did.
Well,
But
I've seen you speak different times on your school community or your podcast about Google Business Profile and just how important it is, and
Mhm.
those reviews, and that's probably the number one reason why we show up number one
Mhm.
always in our area. I'm sure that it's because of Review Harvest and the reviews and a well styled Google Business Profile.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And that website you have now too, I'm sure is helping out a lot. It's a great site. I checked it out. So that's awesome. No, I appreciate your time. Well, where's the best place for people to find you if they are in the area and they want to get in touch, or where should they connect with you?
Well, I've got a little jingle that I've been working on. I'm thinking about sponsoring traffic on the local radio station, thepoopvalet.ca. So
Nice.
thepoopvalet.ca and any of my socials, which are the Poop Valet.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we're going to have all that stuff linked down below in the description. So if you want to go check out a site, you're in the area and you need service, definitely go check them out. But Rick, I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on today. Last thing I want to close out with is if you had one piece of advice for somebody just starting their pet waste removal business, or even for yourself when you're starting the business and you could go back and give yourself that advice, what is that kind of 60 seconds of wisdom?
This is a simple one. Have exceptional communication and always answer the phone.
Love it. Love it. Yep, can't go wrong with those two. Love it. Awesome, Rick. Well, thanks so much for hopping on. Guys, check out his links down below in the description, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.